Alright, so today I'm taking you on the inside of HoneyBook. This is the system and the software that I use for all of my client relationship management. So every single photography client that I have them in this system. It just keeps me on track to make sure that I never miss sending out an email to them, collecting any info. All of the booking is done through HoneyBook, and I'll walk you through that a little bit. So I can collect payments through it really easily. And just keep everything all in one place. All of our emails stay within their project space, which is super, super helpful. And I can even add in like my second shooter to a specific wedding and keep all of our emails just under one little space. So I'm not like digging through Gmail trying to find emails that are particular to a certain client. So I'm going to walk you through HoneyBook, just kind of like a brief overview of the entire software. One of my favorite things is that they will gradually include more and more tools. If you click tools up here, this is like a little sneak peek at what all they have. Templates is something that I use a whole lot. I'll show you kind of like an inside peek of that. Bookkeeping, this is really great because it lets me see what payments are coming in soon and what payments are remaining and which ones have been paid, kind of all in one spot. I'm not going to click on this one because it has my like financial info. They also let you integrate your calendar, so anytime you have a project in HoneyBook, you can set it up to automatically connect with your Gmail calendar or Google Calendar. That's the one that I use, and so it'll always show up on my Google Calendar, so I'll never like double book anything. Reports is also super helpful because you can kind of see like where all your leads are coming from, stuff like that. Scheduling is new, something that I really love having. It'll let you send your clients a link and they can choose which spots that they want on your calendar. And again, it syncs up with your Google Calendar, so you won't ever double book yourself. Tasks are related to the workflows, which I'll walk you through again. But it's really nice because I'll go in depth more a little bit later, but it'll tell you what you need to do today, what you need to do this week, this month, stuff like that. The contact form, if you have a Show It website or if you have a different website, you can build your contact form through HoneyBook, embed it onto your website, and every time you get a new inquiry, it'll automatically create a project for them within HoneyBook for you. So you don't even have to like create a project every single time you get a lead. It'll automatically do the work for you, and then based off of like what type of project it is, it'll update that and like add a workflow and stuff like that. It's super cool. The time tracker, I personally don't use it, but I do know that I was using a time tracker beforehand, so this would have been really helpful just to kind of like get a gauge of how many hours you spend on each client, just so that you know if you're pricing correctly, if you're using your time wisely, if there's a part of your workflow that you need to like get a little bit more efficient at. This is a great way to do this. Again, all of this is housed through HoneyBook, so I think it's such a great software to use. Also, people are mowing the lawn or cutting something down outside my house, so hopefully you can't hear that. The workflows are literally the bread and butter. I think I would pay for HoneyBook just to be able to use the workflows. So here you can see I have a couple like already loaded in here. So if I click on my wedding workflow, this is kind of just like the bare bones of it all. And as you can see, like it will create this task 7 days before the project date. So if someone's wedding is on June 13th, it's gonna give me a task on June 6th to email the second shooter all the info. And the really cool thing about this as well is here it says like send the week of wedding email to my clients. If you click on this, it'll actually have the specific email based off of the email template that you put in that's called week of wedding. And 7 days beforehand, it'll give you a little task and it's like, do you want to approve this email to kick out? You can edit the email real quick and then send it out, but it's super, super systemized. Already has that template pulled in for you so you can personalize it and then kick it out really, really easily. So this is actually my client related workflow. I also have a separate Trello checklist that I'll use on the back end to make sure that I don't forget anything else that's like super nitty gritty that might not be tied to the project date, if that kind of makes sense. But that's a little bit of how workflows work. I have ones for different types of shoots that I do. And so if you go in, let's go to, I'll show you the contact form. This is also super cool. You can have them select what type of project that they're filling out form for, and it'll automatically attach that type of workflow whenever anyone inquires. So it kind of just like does all the heavy lifting for you, and it saves you hours and hours and keeps everything super organized. So here you can kind of like add a new question, and then eventually you can just embed this contact form on your website. If you hit like publish up here, it'll give you how to copy the code and embed it into your website. So super easy to use, super easy to update. It'll let you know when it has last been updated and whether or not it's published, so you're never wondering if your contact form actually works or not, which is also super helpful. Let's go over to templates, because I think that this again is like, if HoneyBook just had the workflows and the templates, I would still pay the full price for it every single year, because it does honestly save me so much time. It will have invoice templates for specific packages that you include. It has contract templates you can plop in, like your wedding contract versus your portrait contract. And actually the proposals part is what will put everything together. So here we'll do group senior session. So you can kind of see this proposal. This is what it's going to kick out to your client whenever they're ready to book. So it kind of just outlines like what the package includes. Here you can say whether it's taxed or not. Here you can lay out the payment schedule. So if you want to make them pay in 2 separate payments, you would just add another payment. And it's really cool because it gives you a lot of flexibility of when you want to schedule that payment. So you could schedule it for the invoice date, you could schedule it to be due on the date of the project. You can literally go in and choose a specific date for it. You can do halfway between them booking and the project, or you can do custom, and a lot of times I'll do custom. So my invoices, the initial ones for booking, will be due 1 week after the invoice has been sent, so what this shows, and then the last payment I will generally set to be due 4 weeks before the project date. So it makes it super easy to just like edit the schedule for this. If your client requests paying in like 4 installments, you can easily fix this to update that and be automatic for them. So super nice. And then you can also set up like payment templates. So like breaking it out into 2 payments or breaking it out into 3 payments, or just like the default that HoneyBook includes. So going along with the proposal, this is the contract portion. So you can choose which contract you want to have in here for like the group senior session proposal. And it'll automatically pull in things like the project date, the event location if they fill that out, or you fill that out on a project detail, all my info, and it'll ask them for specific info from them. And you can like choose to add in a field here. So if you went to here, customized field, like these are all the fields you can ask for. It's super thorough and lets you really customize it well. So this is just the contract, and you can use this template and send it right off once you've filled everything in and made sure that everything looks good. So again, this saves me so much time. After I've talked with a couple, I can pull up this like template proposal, make sure everything looks good, and then send it out within like 5 to 15 minutes. And every single time I update my pricing, I'll go in and update like the invoice pricing here so that the proposal is always up to date with my pricing. So super helpful. Questionnaires, also love this feature in HoneyBook. I send out pretty detailed questionnaires, I would say, just to get info from my clients, and that way we avoid a lot of like the back and forth emails, saves us both time, and it like lets me personalize their experience a lot more than if I have to like ask them emails or ask them questions back and forth in emails. And so it's always nice to put like a personal touch based off of like what they say in their questionnaires. But again, these are like super easily customizable. You can ask a whole ton of things. If you go here and add another questionnaire section, these are the types of questions that you can ask. Just a whole bunch of stuff. And again, like my workflows have to send out like this mentoring questionnaire right after they book their mentoring session. So it's like pretty automatic. I don't have to do a whole lot of heavy lifting because this specific template for the questionnaire is popped into the workflow. So every time I have a new project, it's gonna have that workflow. Let me show you. Let's do Jordan's mentoring session. Let's go here. And you can like use this to search really easily through all your projects as well. So this is what a project space looks like. This isn't for a photography session, it's for a mentoring session. So it might be slightly different than normal. But here you can see all the files that are in here really easily. So you can see how I sent her a questionnaire and sent her an invoice. They have a new tab for payments to make sure all the payments have been made. And then details is also super helpful because you can give it the project name, specify the project type, which is how the workflow comes in, the date, and then the location. And even like you can make notes here about the project and like the overall budget of it. So here, like you can tell it like what stage it's in, where the inquiry came from, which is super helpful for analytics on figuring out where to market more. And then this is coming up because there's the mentoring workflow applied. So if you hit full view, this is like the entire workflow, kind of like what's been done, what's in progress. So you'll see like on June 5th, I have the task to send this specific email, which is like the 1 month check-in after the mentoring session. So if you look here and hit view and edit, and it pulls in this email template that I've already written, and it like lets you customize their name. I can type in here, like type something random in here to edit it before I hit prove and send now and send it out. I'm not going to do that for right now, but that's kind of just how the workflow works overall. And then you can also go in here and add a specific task. If there's something that like you don't have in your workflow that you're like, follow up with Jordan 2 weeks after the session, you can like manually go in and add a specific task as well. I'm going to delete this because I don't need to do this. But that's just the overview of this guide. You can also, from here, send in new files. So you can send a proposal, invoice, contract, brochure. You can send a timeline, which is super helpful for wedding clients because you can draft like their wedding day timeline through here and send it through here. You can even just like upload a specific file if you need to. And let's go to schedule because that's also a really great component of the HoneyBook platform. So these are the specific types of like meetings that I have set up. Let's go through here. This might be a little bit easier to show you guys. And so you can kind of like tell HoneyBook, like here's all the events that I might need to do a video call for if you do a new session type. You can say what type of session this is, the title of it, when it takes place, like the time zone, how long it's for, like when do you want them to be able to book it. So like indefinitely, if they can book it for whenever. Rolling window is if you send them the link, they'll have like 6 months or like 3 weeks of availability that they'll see. You can write instructions, and this is really, really cool and saves me a lot of like time on my end. Before I had this, I used to manually send like an email before a consult to make sure that they remembered that the next day we have a consult, and like that day, like, hey, like we have a consult, like let's make sure to meet up at this specific location. So this lets you do it like automatically now, and you can like update this to be whenever you want it, which is really, really nice. And then under availability, you can manually set what you want your availability to look like. And because it's already integrated with your Google Calendar, it won't double book you if you have something already on your Google Calendar for a particular spot, which is super nice. And there's a ton of customization that you can do in here. And you can even send them like a confirmation email when they book it with you, allow for rescheduling, cancellations, and you can send those emails to confirm the sessions and stuff like that. So super, super useful and versatile. And the great thing is you can have these within HoneyBook, but if you have to send it to someone through something else for some reason, you can just hit copy link and send it to someone. So if your client received that link, this is what it would look like to them. Give it a second, internet is slow. So it's super nice, super simple, very on brand with like my little logo up here and the colors. It's just telling them that it's a wedding experience consultation. It'll be 30 minutes. Here's how they can like access it. And so here you can see the only time I have available for this Tuesday is 5:15. For Wednesday, they can select any of these times, and they can even change this to like view it in their own time zone, which I think is really cool if you have any clients that are in a different state that you are. So say they choose this, they can confirm it, they just put in their details, hit continue, and there you go. They can schedule it with you without you guys going back and forth in email like 3 times trying to figure out a time that works, because I know that I have definitely done that in my business in the past. Let's see, last thing that I am going to walk you guys through is tasks. So again, this is kind of just what I mentioned at the beginning of the video, is you can see what tasks are due today, what tasks are due this week, like what tasks are due this month and stuff, and you can go directly to this project if you need to like look at some details of the project before you like complete the task and stuff like that. So again, super, super nice because it just tells you what to do on a weekly basis. And this is what helps me keep on track with client stuff, so I never miss sending them an email or like any info that I need to send them, or like sending them their draft of their wedding day timeline after they've booked their wedding with me, things like that. So I'll go in here every Tuesdays and Wednesdays are the days that I do photography client work. So one of my biggest tasks is to go in here and make sure that I complete everything that HoneyBook is telling me to. And I will just kind of go through like projects, the timeline. If there's people within this follow-up phase, I will make sure that I go in and follow up with them. But because I have a workflow applied, it'll tell me to follow up with like the 3-day follow-up email or the 7-day follow-up email already in here, which is super nice. And if you respond to an inquiry, it'll automatically move them to the follow-up stage. But say I've already followed up with them, if you send them a proposal, it'll automatically move them here. But say you are meeting with this client, you can just go here and change the stage that they're in, so that they'll pop over to this part of the stage, which is super nice. And you can customize like your pipeline to be specific things. This is kind of just what mine looks for. I know that I'm going to go in here and customize it so that I have one that's kind of just like, I'd probably change one to be like mentoring session prep or something like that. This is just what I have it set up to right now, but it's cool that you can customize what this looks like. So that's a very brief overview of HoneyBook and everything that it does. There's a ton of other things in here, like the time tracker. You can keep files in here. If you send like a PDF of your pricing, you can just keep it in here and just link to it from HoneyBook within itself, which is really nice. And it's even connected to Rising Tide and like Tuesdays Together is like kind of board for if you're looking for opportunities to photograph something within your community. Like people will post here and be like, hey, like looking for a second shooter on 10/10/20, like in this area, kind of like what they're looking for. You can post if you need a second shooter within here. This is a really great way to connect with other people that are in your area for photography opportunities. I know that I've definitely posted for a second shooter in this space when I didn't know anyone personally. And I've also applied to be a second shooter through HoneyBook. So it's really, really nice just having everything in one place. It'll give you all your notifications up here, so if there's like a task due or if somebody emails you anything, it's gonna all pop up right here. So again, super, super easy to use. Saves me so much time every single week. I customize it so that it's up to date, and it's just a really, really great tool to use in your business to save a lot of time. I think that this is the #1 reason. Like, I set HoneyBook up and I put everything in here before I actually got really crazy busy with clients. At the time I was working a full-time job from 9 to 5, and I was doing photography on the side, and I was so, so grateful that I set this up before I got super busy and super slammed, because I think like as I started to photograph more, as people like clients went through the entire experience with me through HoneyBook, it was super simple for them, super streamlined, really, really organized, and just provided a really great client experience. So it just like grew my business so much just from that, and helped kind of pay for HoneyBook like on a yearly basis. So I would definitely recommend looking into it, even if you feel like you're not busy enough or you don't have enough clients yet to have it, because I would definitely 100% recommend setting it up before you get crazy busy, because it does take a little bit of time up front to kind of like pop in all your emails, or like figure out like your client questionnaires and stuff, and kind of like set the workflow up for the first time before you have a client like go through it. But if you're interested, I have a 50% off code. It gives you 50% off the first year, which is a great deal. And I think almost everyone that I know who uses it, like they used it for their first year and then they couldn't imagine their life without HoneyBook. So let me know if you want the code for it to try it out. And if you have any questions on how to use it or anything like that, feel free to reach out and I'd be more than happy to walk you through it. So hopefully this tutorial was helpful and you got to kind of see like the back end of it. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions.